So GST is basically a destination, basically tax on consumption of goods and services. As I just told you, it is basically the amount of tax which is levied on the goods and the services. Goods, now what is the meaning of goods? Goods are basically the products which we buy. For example, if we are buying some of the products like when we go to the shop, the grocery shop, when we buy some of the flour, wheat flour, when we buy the the bread packet, when we buy the biscuits, so these are the products. Or else, hello students, now in today's class we will be studying the concept of GST. Yes, exactly, goods and service tax. These days the taxation authorities is so much of high value that each and everyone is aware of the GST, because wherever we go, if we have to go to the shopping places, if we want to go to the places where we eat, everywhere we can find on the bill the GST charges included in the bill is itself. And every product which we purchase, it has written inclusive of all taxes. So taxes is basically a part of our life only. Wherever you spend money, wherever the money is going, you have to pay the taxes, that is the goods and service tax. So the question arises, what is GST and why do we have to study that, and what is the need to imply the GST in our country? Okay, so goods and service tax is basically the tax which is levied, which is done, which is charged on the goods sold or else the services sold. That is, if I or if we all as a customer, if we go to do some party, when we go out for the birthday party or any of the party, or else if we are going for the dinner, so what will happen? We will be eating the food there. So the food we ate is for rupees, say 2000 rupees. We had a bill of 2000 where the hotel restaurant owner will charge a GST. Why? Because they have given you the services where you can sit in the restaurant and you can have the meal properly. Second, they have used the ingredients, that is the masala they have used, that is the vegetables they have used, the more the items they have used, the raw materials. So everything was purchased and was paid GST. So the same GST will be charged from the customers only. So GST is basically a tax which is collected by the government from the customers in order to have that good or in order to have that proper services. So GST is basically goods and service tax. So goods and service tax, earlier what used to happen, there were two types of taxes earlier. That is, there was a separate tax which was levied on the goods, and there was a separate tax which was levied on the services. So earlier there was a VAT which was charged on the purchase and sale of goods. Apart from that, there was a service tax. Service tax was used to charge on the services which a customer has availed. So these both were the taxes which were paid to the government. Now, there are two types of government in India. One is the central government and the second one is the state government. So usually what used to happen was the services tax department was of the central government. That is, central government used to keep the taxes which were levied on the services. So central government used to keep the taxes on the services. Apart from that, the VAT is basically the value added tax. So VAT was charged on the goods supplied, sold, purchased, whatever it was, and it was given to the state, respective state government. Suppose the goods are being sold in UP. So the UP government will keep the tax on the same. Suppose the goods have been sold in the Maharashtra, or else in the Punjab, or else in the Madhya Pradesh. So each and every state was used to charge the goods which were sold in that state. Okay. Now the second thing is services. Whether you are providing services is any place of the world, any place of the India, that is any city of India, any state of India, the full taxation was being given to the central government. This was the scenario in the older days. After the One India, One Tax rule, what happened? The government proposed and government implemented the new tax regime, that is basically the goods and services tax. So goods and services tax is the one tax which will be charged on the goods or else services. Earlier there were two, now it's only one with the name GST. Now the question arises, who will keep the GST? So now there is a bifurcation, 50-50 bifurcation. That is, the GST will be given half to the central government and the other half to the state government. With that, there is a there is a simple procedure. That is, earlier, if the state government used to earn suppose 5 lakhs and if the central government used to earn 8 lakhs, so there was a thing like you are earning more with the services tax, I am earning less with the goods, that is a VAT. So in order to maintain the parity, in order to maintain the flexibility, they implemented the new tax, that is the GST. Now we will be studying what is the meaning of GST and how and all it is to be taxed and all. Okay. So GST is basically a destination, basically tax on consumption of goods and services. As I just told you, it is basically the amount of tax which is levied on the goods and the services. Goods, now what is the meaning of goods? Goods are basically the products which we buy. For example, if we are buying some of the products like when we go to the shop, the grocery shop, when we buy some of the flour, wheat flour, when we buy the the bread packet, when we buy the biscuits, so these are the products. Or else when we go to the shopping, that is when we buy the mobile phones, then also we have to pay the GST, that is the goods only. Apart from that, when we buy the clothes, we have to pay the GST. So all the products, all the tangible, all the items which can be seen is known as the goods. So while purchasing the goods, you have to pay the GST. Next, now what are services then? Services is like when you use your mobile phone. The mobile phone is a good, but the services, the communication services are given by Airtel or Jio. So these are the services you are getting through which you are able to communicate with other person. Those are basically the services. Or else when you go to a beauty parlor, so the services they provide you, the makeup they provide you is also the services. Apart from that, when we transfer the goods from one place to another, when the goods are transported, okay, this is the service. Goods are the basically the items which we can see. The transportation which carries the goods from one place to another, that is the services given by the transport company. Apart from that, when we go to the coaching classes, when we go to the tuitions, we have to pay the fees and they are providing us the services. So these are also the services which are being provided by the teachers, by the school, by the coaching institutes. So we have to pay the taxes. So these were the bifurcation of goods and the services. In both of the things, there is a GST, goods and service tax. Apart from that, when we go to the restaurant, there are two types of things. That is, they deal in both the items. First one, they have a place where you can sit and have the meal. So they are providing you the services of sit and eat. Next is basically they are providing you the goods which you can eat, which you can see. Okay, so you have that goods as well. So they are providing you with both the services, both the things. That is, they are providing the goods to eat and the place to eat. Okay, so this is basically the goods and the services on which we have to pay the GST. So in the full world or in all over the India, the GST is taxed. Okay, it implies to each and everything. The goods, the minutest of the minute thing. When you buy a pin, you have to pay the GST. When you buy the car, you have to pay the GST. So everywhere there is a GST included in the price of that product.